apples, pineapples, and Ortenique oranges in St. Thomas Ye Vale, Part 1. About that time when, as expressed by Byron, quote, night wanes, the vapours round the mountain curled melt into morn, and light awakens the world. We pass through the sleeping city of St. Jago de la Vega and drive along the smooth high road to the north. Deep in the very heart of this island rock of ours lies a secluded valley, hemmed in on every side by towering hills, favoured by copious showers from the clouds that drift continuously from the east and watered by many streams that rise amongst the untrodden heights around it. It is little wonder that St. Thomas Ye Vale should be the delectable valley it is. Quote from the Daily Gleaner on May 9th, 1891. The very names of the products cultivated within its borders and brought into the stations of the metropolitan market suggest the rich and fertile nature of the soil. Coffee, pimento, cocoa, oranges, Orteniques, bananas, sugar cane, annatto, Jamaican Otaheite apples, pineapples, star apples. Surely a goodly land. Shenton Manor, at Knollys in Bog Walk, St. Thomas Ye Vale parish, is the name we gave our modest farm and orange orchard, and the words were inscribed on marble plaques on the gateposts. The large iron gate that intersected the perimeter wall, bedecked with variegated colours of bougainvillea, are swung wide open to welcome friends, well-wishers and family onto the green expanse of zosia lawns that extended past the ducks and geese pond to the citrus grove and towering coconut palms. At the rear of the property, the pig pen enclosures were located. To the right, in symmetrical rows that ran parallel to the northern boundary, there were buzzing hives with busy bees, assiduously engaged in the production of healing honey and royal jelly. In case you ever wanted to know what queen bees eat for nourishment, it is royal jelly. At the northeastern section of the property stood the two families' home with columns and arched windows, surrounded by gardens of flowers and rare species of palms. Daytime guests were served thirst-quenching tumblers of freshly squeezed Ortenique juice, untouched by sweeteners or diluting fluids. A glass of chilled, squeezed Bog Walk orange juice is the most delicious healthy drink available. An aviary of exotic birds performed with tweets and twirls in the wire enclosures that protected them, all save the peacocks that roamed freely, giving pleasure in their romantic ritual with the elaborate fan of the male peacock's train feathers, quintessential green, blue, and bronze plumes, glistening in the rays of the setting sun. This scene was a regular daily occurrence that made the atmosphere idyllic. They had it to say that an apple a day is as good a way for keeping a man healthy, and I proved to myself after a cancer scare that a glass of orange or Ortenique juice did the trick for me for at least 13 years post-diagnosis. But Bog Walk is fruitful, and there was a feeling in the old days that you could never go hungry, even if you were penniless. Yet as the years have passed, this is not necessarily true. However, what is true and beneficial is the purity of the air quality in and around Bog Walk, and these environmental advantages help people of all strata to thrive better. There is also the hope that an ecosystem that promotes bodily health may also be conducive to the development of pure and honest minds, a condition lacking in most societies. Martin Alias Steer, who was by nature and experience a farm-loving person, and who became a sort of jack of all trades, dabbling in plumbing and masonry. It was that odd time on a Saturday afternoon when skilled tradesmen are either at home helping themselves or homeward bound and therefore unavailable to assist others when things would radically go wrong on our small farm in the country. It is in that sort of scenario that I first spoke with Steer, and he first brought his natural talents as a solution for my plumbing emergency. He came across as anxious to please because he was confident of his own natural wisdom and had abundance, it seemed, of not inconsequential and rather challenging experiences. It was also obvious that he labored under an enormous handicap that still impacts and is injurious to the young male population in pockets of rural societies. They are, it appears, by circumstances beyond their control, derived of basic educational development, but nevertheless have the passion to remain out of trouble with the law or fellow men because of personal driving ambition to get ahead and overcome this major societal setback. People whose lives are worth recording are often described as having a checkered history. The word originates with échiquier, which is chessboard in French. I wonder whether the moves made in their professional and career were based on infinite choices or were made in the context of the specific hand a protagonist is dealt. Indeed, that is the very question about Steer. The poor peasant and protagonist in the story Steer and Spiritweed. As he moved from one job to the next in search of a living wage between ages 14 and 40, finding a job that would prevent him from being drowned in a sea of poverty, that seemed, because of the hand he was dealt, to be his certain destiny, in spite of his personal monumental struggle to attain one day the dignity of self-actualization. To be more direct, was our protagonist caught in the proverbial cycle of poverty, trapped in a cyclone caused by self-reinforcing mechanisms that cause poverty once it exists to persist unless there is purposeful outside intervention? For the, quote, always poor live consistently below the poverty line, and that plight can persist across generations, and even more importantly, in the context of developing countries, is known as a development trap. This is how he shared with me the misgivings, experience, and much of his job-seeking journey. When I was about 13 or 14, I did get my first real job. Differently from assisting people or family in the district, doing things when they might call on me to help them. For my efforts, I would receive whatever little change or tip they felt like giving me. I had just met my father when he came to rescue me from the police station because of the type of friends that I moved with at the time. It was my first foul coop work. I used to start at around 3 o'clock in the morning and was cleaning the coop, feeding and giving water to the young fowls. After checking out all of this I was supposed to do for the day, I would finish working at about 3 in the afternoon. Then I would take care of myself and cook something to eat. Because of having to start before the light of day, I used to sometimes sleep in a room on the premises they allowed farm hands to use, called the barracks. The pay was very small, and the work was very hard sometimes, and the bosses used to be very strict, but they didn't want to lose any of the birds. It was not like the big, up-to-date chicken house they have nowadays. When I was doing the work, everything inside the coop was done by hand, and it was hard labor. The only thing I spent my wages on was food and working clothes, and a cheap shoe, for there was nothing left for anything else. So I moved back to Valley to try and find some work near to the district I grew up in, so I could be closer to family and not have to pay a lot for something to eat and somewhere to sleep. I think I was making the right move, so I could save a little for the rainy day, but the opportunities were just not there, and I couldn't find a job, and I could earn more since I was not able to read and write good. I couldn't get a better job. So I again found a job taking care of a chicken coop, exactly like the one I got first. This farm belonged to Mr. Calvin Semoy on Church Road in Bogwalk. This would be my second time working as a chicken coop caretaker. Only this time, the boss wife had two everlasting cooks. One she gave me to take care of all by myself, and the other one she gave to a next laborer who was there a long time before me. And him used to talk like him was my boss, and I needn't worry if providing I keep on his good side if I ever wanted to keep the job. But I learned my lesson long time, and I do something with the chicken that under my care that show him up in 4 weeks. Instead of putting the round feeding pans on the ground where the birds would fight off each other and scatter the feed, I hang it high up so the chickens would have to stretch more and more as they get older to get at their food. And this way, they got more exercise and get to the market weight in only 6 weeks. The secret was that when the birds got more exercise, they grow stronger and weigh more. And it is the weight of each fowl, which should be at least 5 pounds, that they calculate how much the owner gets in payment. Part 2 comes up later.